Thank you for staying.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, it is 7:20 on March 27th. This is the Upper Kirk Facilities Committee meeting, calling it to order. With us, we have members Keith McCarrick, JP Prego, the chair, Melvin Cunningham, also our board president, Danny Rizzo, our business admin, Dr. Roach, our superintendent, and Doug Kenwood, our director of facilities and operations. I'll start the meeting by entertaining a motion to approve the February 27th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. And we'll jump right into old business. I'll hand it over to you, Doug.
Thank you, Mr. Prego. I had a question about the HVAC maintenance agreement. Remember, we discussed that last month, and we were all generally in favor of proceeding with that, but it would be effective July 1, and it's in my next year's budget. So I guess the question is when do I list that as a motion? Is that at the May 11th meeting? I don't really want to wait till June. I'm not sure that gives them enough time to mobilize.
What's wrong with the April meeting, is that?
Yeah.
It's okay to get it set up.
Yeah, I think it's okay to have set up and with the anticipation that.
Even though the budget's not passed, that's okay.
We're going to have a budget.
Sure,
Some
yeah,
kind.
sure,
Yeah.
No, that's fine, I can do that.
We'll just have to cut off that grass field meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's just thinking that. Yeah. You're going to be out there with a mower.
Yeah, there's questions come up in the past as far as whether one from
Yeah.
the facilities department or other departments, and we can't let that fact, just hold up actual operational feasibility.
Yeah, leases and all that kind of stuff all have to be renewed when they're renewed, so.
Right.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
I wanted to also circle back on the Hereford playground renovations. I have some additional information and budgetary numbers. I'm going to try to put this up on the screen here. So if you recall the last meeting we had discussed a particular play set, and there were the two swing sets off in the distance. And then we also talked about the safety surfacing at Hereford. I went to the same contractors that we used for Marlborough's playset. And what you have before you is the total cost if we want to do a complete sort of rebuild, gut and rebuild of the safety surfacing, moving the swings, and a new playset. When I met with Mr. Freeze, he had actually asked if I could go back to the vendor and see if they had any options for play sets, because he really wanted to make it sort of a fun survey for PTFS and his leadership council at Hereford.
It's kind of what they did at Marlboro too, right?
Exactly.
They had
We-
playground
yeah.
options at the.
Right. Principal Stevens and I had narrowed it down to two, and then I think she basically let the kids pick.
I think we did that at 4 or 5, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that at 4 or 5, too.
Yeah.
So this is a rundown of where we sit right now. And actually, this, I'll just scroll down to the bottom. We're at 142,616. That number is actually a little high because I confirmed a few hours ago that there's some duplication in between or with the demo company's quote and the playground company's quote. So they're getting together and working that out.
Wasn't it like 98 last time?
Yeah.
Well, 98 was just from George Eli,
Right.
Okay.
and that was only to install the new play set and bump out basically that playground area and put 2 new swings. It didn't include removing all of the existing safety mulch, if you will, and working that, essentially building that back with with the fabric and the stone and
The
the safety
drainage
mulch
being
on
right.
top,
Yep.
like we did at Marlboro.
Okay.
So that's most of this number here, this 26 and the 15 and the 17. The entire demo is about 5,900. So that's the demo of the existing play structure, those two climbers, that blue, I guess they call it a track ride, in the back right corner, and the entirety of the swings go.
Okay,
That's the
good.
structure too, not just.
Yes, this would, well, and right, so we talked about a couple options. This
Yeah.
is the most expensive option. If we want to demo the swing sets in their entirety. And then replacing the safety surfacing. The Eli quote would basically started with number 6, roughly. So we're at about 142,000. I did look back, and Marlboro's was about 127 after you deducted the contribution from PTFS. And then there's still this option hanging out there of whether we want to replace the rope climber or not at Hereford, which is about $28,000.
So that's not included in.
That's not included up top, no. PTFS at Hereford is willing to contribute 13.5%, which was the percentage that the Marlboro PTFS contributed.
Can they contribute more? Just asking.
They may be,
Just
I
asking.
know they made quite a bit of money on their Hereford Walk and some of the other activities, but, so this is where we currently sit. There is still some refining that has to take place of these numbers. I'll be honest with you, I've gone back and forth on this rope climber. I've looked at it 3 or 4 different times. Structurally, it's fine.
It's just the rope.
It's basically a cabling system that has a rope covering on the cables. And on the lower rungs, if you will, the rope has worn away, and you can see the cable. But the cable's not frayed, it's not sharp, it's,
There were kids put their feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically their first step up
So
from the
everybody's on
ground.
that.
It's just, I've been trying to, I've talked to a couple different people, is there any way I can get, re-rope it or put some type of cover on top, and I haven't been successful with that yet. So this one, I'm honestly, I'm struggling with.
Duct tape, that fixes everything.
Retired naval bosun's mate,
Yeah, like so.
I'm sorry, Keith?
retired naval bosun's mate,
Right.
having to do the rope work.
Yeah.
So, the number could be, if we decide to go with that option, the number could be, what is that, 170, minus a little bit because of the duplication that'll come back to us. Or we're in that, probably a little south of 142, or 140, excuse me, if we opt not to remove that rope climber in favor of a new one. I think I actually have some of the, just to refresh your.
Oh, good, thank you.
your-
I was gonna ask you to get a picture of that rope then.
This is the rope climber here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if you can actually see.
I'm not that.
Yeah, but
No.
some of these, it's more, this is essentially steel cable all throughout. And then some of these lower rungs where the kids actually step up for the first time off the mulch.
And there's no like C-channel, like rubber.
There may be, I'm still trying to figure that out because
Yeah.
the kids really enjoy that piece of equipment, although the new one will basically look like it. But
Right.
it's, there's nothing on it that says who the original manufacturer was, so I can't go that route. I think people have pictures of me climbing on it. and-
Yeah.
But,
They'll be used later, at a later date.
so that's, I'm full transparency, I'm very much waffling on this.
You would think if the rest of the ropes are okay, maybe there's something we
There's
can
gonna be
fix.
something we can do.
Yeah, at least
Because that's-
temporarily.
This goes.
That's an expensive piece.
Yeah,
Like,
28,000.
Yeah.
The other option is we phase it, and you do it later,
Yeah,
in a year or 2 or 3. It might be more than 28,000 at that point, just because of,
do you mean take it out And
You
then
could do that, we
redo it?
could take it out and not replace it immediately.
We're trying to figure out somebody to help us fix it,
Right.
maybe?
This piece here goes,
What is
this
that?
stays, the dome
Yeah.
stays.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
Zip line thing.
What is what, I'm sorry?
That
This?
top right,
yeah.
This is a zip line. It's a zip line.
Not very
essentially.
far.
No, I think-
There's a
Not
handle on
scary.
this, and you hold the handle and you zip
Not really
down.
scary either,
This is just a dome climber, this is a rock wall.
One of my
I don't
speeds.
know.
okay. Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't know, Keith, but you and I rode that rusty merry-go-round and that, rusty.
Yeah, you
monkey
guys turned out
bar.
just fine.
We're fine.
How you're lumping me in there?
Yeah, my son tripped and fell on the mulch around the metal merry-go-round when my daughter was playing softball. Yeah.
Right.
Whoa.
Got stitches in his head too, lots of them. It's not pretty.
So these three items right here would go in favor of the new playset. And this area would bump out for swings.
Yeah,
And then the additional, essentially $40,000 is to remove all of this mulch that's currently there and replace it with the proper drainage, stone and fabric, and the proper depth of.
which would also then match the swing set area.
Yes. So I'm waiting on some revised numbers. The rub here, though, is that it confirmed with George Eli and Associates today that they're shipping now for June.
So if you don't.
So if we don't
You know,
do it
this is
soon,
something,
we're
right,
gonna miss
so
it.
if we don't put a motion on the April agenda, I don't think we make it
We're so up.
for the summer.
I don't know what you guys think. My personal opinion is ignore the, whatever you, the rope thing, take out and do the rest of it for now.
Yeah, I don't want one piece of equipment to have a hang up on the entire project.
Yeah, me
Like,
neither.
especially if you're saying that they're ordering now for June.
Right.
You agree?
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Peg? Good to go? Okay. Audience, good to go?
Does that light up at night, Doug? Or does that have lights on it in?
It's like a
Which,
smart truck.
sorry, this thing,
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
See?
I don't really,
It would match the round part of the school.
I thought maybe I could see.
See it
the-
from the space station?
Uh-huh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what, I'll get the refined numbers in, and then, this is included in my budget for next year as well,
Okay.
and then I can just send an email out.
You're so
with-
forward-thinking.
With the final numbers, and then if everybody's in agreement, then we can, sorry.
Doug, do you just trash that stuff, or can you put it in recycling, or what do you do?
It's kind of, to the victor of spoils, they may, metal recycle it, and that keeps our costs down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Excellent.
Talk about putting it behind the Ed Center for us here, but
Yeah, right?
it wasn't gonna work.
We did kick that around.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Zip line was too short.
Be on workers' comp for breaking something.
Okay, so we'll do, so as soon as I have those revised numbers, I'll send those out.
Thanks.
The tennis courts, I'm having some trouble getting a second contractor out, although I think I've located one that's fairly close, that's willing to come out. I did get a quote for the 2 repair options from the Brenneman Company. The first one is the,
Got the
let's
sand
go
in-
right here. This is basically the sand and rubberized crack filler.
Right.
It's $4,200. The only thing that gives me pause though on this is he said it cracks to be closed, but not necessarily level full.
Huh?
So I have to, right, that's what I said.
Yeah, huh?
I'm like, huh? So I have to have some more conversations with him about that. And then the good news on this one is we have time.
Right.
This is not something we would do until, late May, June, or over the summer. The other option is the armor crack repair system. That's the video that we saw.
Yeah.
And they would, if the crack's 100 feet long, they would, go 20 feet on either side. It's a fabric and a coating. And what makes this more expensive is not only the material, but the You have to repaint, basically.
Yeah. Does that include the repainting, the cost?
Yes, yep,
200?
3 coats of the color over the repairs, touching up the lines. So it's just, like I said, I'd like to get somebody else's opinion, but that's where we're sitting right now.
Where's this company from?
They are out of Lancaster. They were the ones that did the original coating. They do a lot of work. They actually were recommended by the architect that we used back in the day to resurface the tennis courts. They do Kutztown University. He was telling me the whole group.
Yeah, the painting is only touch up to where they're doing repairs, not the repainting the entire court.
Right. Right, so there could be a slight color difference
Right.
with the fading over time. So hopefully by next meeting, I'll have another opinion and potentially some comparison pricing, just then we can decide which way we want
And
to
then some
go.
clarity on the.
And right, on the level full.
Level full.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
And did either of those have any kind of warranty or guarantee or? I had to ask, yeah, I had to ask you.
I can ask that question. I don't.
Was there something at the bottom of that letter that said warranty? Warranty, all work will be
Guaranteed
repaired,
against
all work-
defects for 1 year from the date of completion.
Okay.
Right, probably material defects, right? Materials.
Correction, normally a yearly maintenance issue and carry
No warranty.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't get a
So,
chance to read it,
No.
but I saw warranty on there, so I thought I'd better ask. Okay,
So,
Okay.
question solved.
okay. So, like I said, next meeting, I'll have more information on that.
Okay.
The next one is the middle school NPDES permit and that notice of termination in Title IX and how that's intertwined. I was able to confirm that the notice of termination package has been submitted to Montgomery County Conservation District.
Good.
It's unknown at this time when they're coming. It's,
They have to wait till they thaw their bullets out.
That's what it
right.
says.
Now, Mr. Mazika did tell me that the Conservation District did hire someone, I guess, recently, maybe in the last 6 or 9 months or a year, whose job it is specifically to come out for these notice of termination inspections.
Good.
We've been working on cleaning trash and working on the stormwater BMPs on Montgomery Avenue and
How's the
Drop.
detention?
the detention we unwinterized, is that a?
Yeah.
We Right, we unwinterized the detention basin and that's pumping water again and everything seems to be fine there. We just don't know when he's coming. The one area that has me a little concerned is to see, how our trees did over the winter in those parking lot islands.
Are they required to give you like a certain amount of notice? Like,
Nope.
The last one, they didn't.
They just showed up.
Showed up. And, we'd like to walk the space with them, or the grounds with them, obviously.
Yeah.
I think from a grass perspective, we should be in fairly good shape. It had grown in quite a bit last fall. It's just trees. So we're gonna, as soon as we can tell if buds are coming out or not, we'll have an idea of if we have more
Well, maybe
trees.
they'll give us a couple weeks, then we should be budding trees by then.
Right,
And
exactly.
maybe then,
Exactly.
well, hopefully they can tell you if they're not actually budding.
Right. And on the Title IX side, the bid package for the softball field drainage project is nearly done. I went back to them and proposed a new schedule, which is this.
Okay.
So they have to finish the package and get the package to me for my review and solicitor's review. It's a fairly aggressive schedule.
Yeah.
Giving them a day to edit it, and then April 7th, we'd be out to bid. We do our mandatory advertising, a pre-bid meeting. Essentially, bids would come in on May 3rd, a couple days for the engineer to review and make a recommendation, and then we would list the bid award on the May 11th meeting.
Okay.
What makes this sticky, though, is the the termination of the permit. Like if the permit is not terminated at that point, you know, we may have to wait. And then, you know, look to do it in June, but I'm not sure that.
I feel like we're at everyone's mercy this week.
Yeah, that gives us some time. So fingers crossed, you know, the permit gets terminated sometime here in April or early May, and we can proceed with this.
So when would be the start date based on the schedule?
So the start date is essentially after 4th of July. And they don't, Mr. Mazika thinks they only need maybe 4 weeks. I'm not really concerned about that start. In fact, I think they could even start in August, because the field's not in use, and we can't restore the site and overseed
Right.
until the fall anyway. Because
Sure.
you don't want to seed in July and
Right.
August. It's just
No,
not.
nobody's gonna work that.
So we talked about
Uh-huh.
grading and seeding in September. So it's, you know, sort of, these things have to happen in series for this to move forward.
So, worst case scenario, we do everything and don't have the NPDES determination done. Can that, I mean, it's not gonna, we can keep everything we have ready to go.
Right.
We would have to go back out to bid.
We probably would have to reject all bids
Okay.
and then,
I just didn't know
and
how
then go
that-
out again at some point once the
Okay.
permit is terminated.
Which nobody
Yes.
needs to do. Everyone has enough to do.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
make sure that, you know, the bids are firm for, I think, 60 days is customary.
Okay.
Maybe 90 if we could write that in, but
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yep.
a little unnerving, but.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
All right. Where, Title IX, we have the steel beams installed for the scoreboard, for the softball scoreboard.
Okay.
Spear did that for me
Where are you
last
putting
week.
that, Doug?
In the outfield beyond the fence, I guess it would be kind of left center.
Left side?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for the concrete to cure, and they, not any fault of their own, but they made a big mess of not the field, but beyond the fence, just they sunk their dump truck, and they're gonna repair it. But it's so wet back there, it's
Yeah.
just,
Like a marsh.
so we have to let the concrete cure, and then RJ Electric will come in and mount the board and run the electric.
Is the new scoreboard bigger than a postage stamp? Like the-
It's a duplicate of the boys varsity scoreboard.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I believe it has like a wireless capability,
Oh, okay.
like an app type capability where you can control it.
Yeah, those guys are all about the apps.
Yeah, remotely, so there'll be a box somewhere mounted on the softball field itself, like on the backstop or someplace in that area. And you can give somebody access to an app, and then they can control the scoreboard
Cool.
that way.
So we'll never lose.
Nope.
Right. But at least we don't have to hand over a controller that we've had trouble in the past.
Yes,
It's great.
excellent. Gotta love new technology.
The next item, KCBA, just a follow-up on the feasibility study. So they are working on an application for our 10-year plan. I can pull up, if you can see this. Is that way small?
Yeah, it's one red.
It's about the numbers, I guess.
So essentially, this is a spreadsheet, and the one for each school, categorized, site, architectural, mechanical, electrical, et cetera, year built, life cycle. And what the spreadsheet will do will tell you, based on when that particular item was built or installed and what the typical life cycle is, it will tell you how many years left you have of that asset. And then will also total
18 is good.
you know, what the replacement value is in today's dollars, and I think also at with a 4% escalator when it's actually at end of life.
Okay.
So I'm trying to help them with the year built column. Like in Marlboro, it's fairly easy. Everything was built in, 91. But, the chiller was replaced there in 2018, but they don't necessarily know that. So I'm helping them with year of
That's a big
installation on
project.
some of
That's
these.
a big project.
Yeah, but this one's not, they have cooling tower and chiller right here is 91. That needs to be updated.
Right.
And then, control system, we did some work with the Giza project on that, so that, that's no longer a 91 item.
When this is complete, can you send this out to?
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, as a follow-up, they're asking if they could get some time at the April Facilities Committee meeting to run through this and see if there's any follow-up items that, they could start working on before summer. And then, there's a larger discussion about all the recommendations that they brought forth, the high school in particular, and where we want to go with that and in what time frame.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider, not tonight, but
Yep.
all that information's there, and, even if it's, don't talk about it until, the middle school's this much covered, or financially, what can be done. I mean, definitely, you guys did it for a reason, so we'll make sure we look at it and what's realistic. And majority of concerns, I guess, were at the high school.
There's plenty to do there, yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty that needs help.
I'll say.
We don't want to let it sit too long.
No.
So this will be a nice tool. when
It
it's
So the higher
finished.
numbers are better.
Green's good, red's bad.
Green's good, red's
good.
bad.
Okay.
Um,
That's minus 17.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
past.
that's ugly.
Yeah.
Past due.
But like the lighting fixtures are, we replaced them all as part of the Giza project with
Right.
LED, so that's not an accurate
Correct.
number. So I'm going through these the best I can, and a lot of this predates me, and I'm digging through paperwork and drawings and trying to get them as accurate a number as possible. And the high school is going to be very difficult because of all the different
Additions.
phases of additions and renovations and things.
Thanks. Well, we're
So-
certainly getting our money's worth for this study, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was, I'm making sure that this deliverable is delivered.
Yeah.
Because that was clear in the RFP that we wanted the completion of the study, we wanted a 10-year plan.
Yep.
So this is,
Either
Our
ballpark
residents.
estimate of when you think this list will be done.
they're basically just sending me these PDF files over, and I'm marking up the year build column
As
and
best you can, yeah.
as best I can, and if there's something that doesn't look quite right in the life cycle column, I may make a comment there.
And you said the high school one's next, or that's?
Well, they have a spreadsheet set up for each one,
Okay.
each school,
Okay.
including the Ed Center as well, but the high school, I think it needs a lot more rows because of the different phases of
Yeah.
construction. And
Yeah, at least that was all one building, one
Yeah, this was
time,
one,
no additions.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
Because even Hereford has additions, so.
Right. Right, so it's, the roofing, they don't have roofing, remember that's Soda Roofing. They're continuing to work on their survey. We've been doing some additional drone work and core samples of roof. And we have the roof scheduled for June for the 4-5 admin area.
Good.
Just a heads up, the 4-5, I guess it's the flight room and auxiliary gym roof is really bad. That's probably gonna be the next one. Yeah.
Oh, wow, even though we have a school?
Yeah, when well,
Or in
we can't
conjunction
have, from the drone survey, it looks very wet. The whole roof, and I'll show this to you maybe at the next meeting, the whole roof is white in areas. And then the aux gym is black in the middle, but from the edges, I don't know, 10, 15 feet in, it's all white. So
We're
it's,
seeing leaks anywhere?
That's the thing, we're not really.
That's
Um,
even scarier.
That's, yeah, so I'm not sure.
So it's a
The
pool
ones you
there.
can't see.
Right, so
are
it's,
killing you.
so it's a pool up there
Right.
essentially holding water.
Doug, that's not the original roof, like that roof's been redone before, right? Because
In pieces.
that gym is old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look, Peg.
And we
I
don't
have
use
a-
the oxygen.
I have an inventory of
Yeah.
of the roofing systems.
Yeah.
No, not a whole lot. I mean,
We use a flight ground.
The youth groups
Yeah.
use it probably more than we do.
Yeah.
Well, middle school softball uses it.
Yeah, there's a batting cage that goes in there.
Yeah, okay.
So I can share some of those pictures with you at the next meeting, but they're continuing to do that work. And then we'll, we can then kind of knead their data into this model. But just, for example, roofing at the high school, there might be 20 rows, because there's 20 different roof
sections,
systems
yeah.
there.
Right.
All with different, and actually our records for the high school are good, so I should be able to give them
Oh, that's good.
accurate year-built
That's all.
data.
Just gonna
for
be
that.
time consuming on your part.
It is.
to
Yeah.
It is.
Weed through it.
Yep.
But, it's
It's
the
gonna be-
tools
it's
only
gonna be
as good
worth
as
it,
the
though.
data it's
Oh,
in,
yeah.
so it's, it's certainly worth the effort.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about them coming in next meeting?
I'm good with
Sure.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so on to new business.
yes, new business.
Nice
I'm working
one.
on the repairs and surveys of the sidewalks at the high school. We've got issues there that need to be addressed. Full transparency, we had a couple issues during the Gold Card show for Mamma Mia.
Yes, those old people
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's old people. Peg.
struggling to
The
get in
seasoned
there.
people.
Yeah, seasoned people.
And
Yeah.
I've done 4 or 5 sidewalk projects, and that was probably, going to phase that, but when looking at it harder and after this winter, it looks like we've got some pretty significant issues there. I
A little
haven't,
too lumpy.
yeah. Well, it's a combination of pads needing to be replaced, or crack repairs, or just unevenness, or sinking along the curb line. So there's really 3 different repair methods. One is what I did a lot of going up 11th Street there was the poly jacking. So the slab itself is in place, it's just depressed. So you can inject like a high-density kind of poly foam under it, and it'll raise it intact. And then pick it up.
Because it's waterproof. and
Right, some of the slabs are broken up to the point where they need to be, it's just a flat-out replacement, there's nothing you can do. And others, there's, an unevenness from one pad to the next that we can address through what they call, it's not a grinding, it's actually like a cutting, so there's like a gentle slope from one pad to the next. I had a company come out, it was a company that some of the other school districts are using by the name of Always Safe Sidewalks, and they did a full survey for me and marked up what they believed was, crack repair, what was full replacement, what was cutting, sloping. So they can do the poly filling, and they can do the cutting of the slabs to sort of even them out. They can't do the full replacement, so I'm meeting with a company tomorrow to look at the full replacements. But it's going to be
Yeah, that's not
a fair
cheap.
amount of an arrow to address all of it. I will look at it to see, the tolerance is crazy small. Like if it's more than, I think it's 3/8 of an inch from one slab to the next, it's considered a trip hazard per ADA. So, it's something that just we just have to invest the money in.
My whole neighborhood's a trip hazard.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I was looking at the sidewalk
It's Greenville, yeah.
in front of my house.
Greenville.
I had tree roots pushing, but it is
We're gonna be
true.
better. We're gonna be.
So.
Yeah.
Doug,
Maybe we could get a ramp.
Doug,
Yeah.
what do you think about power washing the front of the high school, getting some of that black off of there?
Peg, we've tried that, and bricks fall off.
Yeah, we don't want to do that, never mind.
Yeah, we've tried that, and.
All right, how about paint?
Right.
No.
And we have, and the face of the bricks just delaminate and start falling
Holy
off.
cow.
So we either have to figure out something a little more gentle, or just deal with it
Or
for
live with it
some
for
amount
now.
of time until we
Well, that's going through
potentially
the KCBA.
renovate.
Yeah.
Because that Starship Enterprise canopy thing
Paint
would
easy
likely.
now, come on, that was state of the art in 1968, come on.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going with, remember KCBA proposed bumping out the
Yes.
high school,
Yeah.
basically putting a new front on it,
Right,
15 additional admin,
yeah, so
science
not a little
labs.
bit.
So any new curbage would be short-term if that was the case of.
It could,
Yeah.
right, it could be a 4 or 5 year.
But it's unsafe.
Right.
Yeah. Safety issues.
But I'm trying to make it safe for the least amount of money, essentially.
Yeah,
At least
We
in that.
appreciate it.
that
Yeah, we
front.
do.
At least in that
Yes.
front, we
Senior
could replace the whole
citizens
thing, and it would be
$1 million.
$200,000 or what have you, but we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
So-
we don't have an NPDES permit for
No.
that either.
So that's where, I'm just gonna, Dan's gonna help me find some money, and we're gonna start working on these. It's a repair item, I don't, you guys tell me, I don't think it requires a motion or anything like that, I think it's just.
Probably not, especially if it's a
Get
safety.
it, get it fixed.
I know.
Not gonna say no to that.
Yeah.
No, no,
Okay.
no, we're not gonna say no to that. Definitely.
But they did a
But
nice,
just keep us.
yeah, they did a nice
Let us know
job,
how much it
they
is, so we
numbered
know.
every slab and
What we're doing.
GPS and the whole bit. It was pretty involved. But they do it, with the thought that they're gonna get the repair work, so.
Right.
Yeah, so that's another kind of work in progress.
Okay.
But I want to get it fixed as quickly as we can. The other one is just this stormwater maintenance agreement. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar, but as part of the middle school and the off-site sidewalk project, there are a number of what they call BMPs, best management practices for stormwater management, from the middle school all the way down to past 8.
Oh, that's right.
It keeps going past 8. Some of them are subsurface tanks, other of them are what looks just like a normal inlet along Montgomery Avenue, but it actually has screening and things in there to catch debris, so the water quality is higher.
Yeah, it's quite.
The school district is responsible for the maintenance of all those things,
Right.
even what's not on our property.
Yeah,
So I had asked Kyle for some help from his office. I just wanted to sort of do a page turn with one of his attorneys, which we did, just so I understand what our obligations are. And he's doing some additional research for me. He didn't believe that we were supposed to be maintaining anything in the street. And I said, well, we are. Mr. Mazika told me.
In the
told me-
street?
Yeah, along Montgomery Avenue. We're popping grates and cleaning out filters and, oh yeah.
Upper Hanover's pretty stickler about all that.
Mr. Crispin has a tank in his front yard,
Yeah.
stormwater, subsurface stormwater tank.
Yeah.
This is both Upper Hanover and Pennsburg?
No, that's all
Or just-
Upper Hanover.
I think it's just the agreement is just with Upper Hanover,
Okay.
right? So essentially, if we fail to maintain these, then the township maintains them and
Charges
invoices
us.
us essentially. The agreement also requires that we have an engineer look at these BMPs once every 3 years and do a report that goes to the township on how well they're
Repeat
being
business for Betty
maintained and how well they're working and everything. So I'm trying to get it's 3 years from the date that Upper Hanover accepted the, it's complicated. So I needed some help. So I went to this, a colleague of Mr. Summers, and he's kind of helping me navigate through this.
But the intent is to understand what we're responsible for? Or to
Yes.
have- Okay, so we're not
Yes.
like looking to bring an outside company.
Well,
to do-
unless there's something we can't do.
Right.
Like I'm a little concerned about these tanks. I don't think there's any expectation that we're actually entering the tanks, you know, as a confined
It's like confined,
space
right.
or anything.
No.
You know, Mr. Mazika had told me that it's basically, you know, aerating it's like a sand gravel in there that
Yeah.
acts as a filter and just making sure it just doesn't, you know, get real hard. But some of it I'm comfortable with my staff doing, and others of it, I'm like, I'm on the fence. So
Yep.
I'm just trying to understand what that's all
You know,
about.
in speaking about that sidewalk project, there's an area across the street where we put, there's the.
Right
So
at the end of the
eighth-
townhouses.
Yeah, at the end of the townhouses where the property, what's, is it with the
It's
blue?
where Pennsburg, when you're headed
Yeah,
towards 663,
yeah.
you hit the traffic light now, go to the end of the row of those houses on the right, there's that big empty space there.
There's a big.
That's a possible
that big-
development for Pennsburg. And they had to do special drainage
Mhm.
Yeah.
retention bond in
Right.
there.
Yep.
And that's where they wanted to put up a railing also, didn't they?
That's what I was gonna say, yeah. You could literally fall right off into oblivion there. It's really deep.
Wow.
Yeah, the lady that lives there reminded me about it a couple times now. And I just thought of it again, so I thought, well, while we're talking about sidewalks, I remember Sandy saying, we're not putting any railing there. But honestly, we probably should have finished the job
Hmm.
because it was part of it.
The railing was never specified for there. It was
No,
an
it
active
wasn't.
one.
Exactly, but it's a safety.
By the council.
thought. Mm. Yeah,
So
that was
it's-
Pennsburg side that worked on that? Well, yeah, that's the Pennsburg
Yeah,
side.
I think that is the Pittsburgh.
I would do as little as possible with that because they're looking at putting in
Yeah, you're
another
right.
development.
Is that where this vacant house is? and the
That's where they
garage in the
started
back?
tearing the
Okay.
stuff down,
Yeah.
yeah. The white and blue house.
Yeah, the white
Yes,
blue house, yeah.
yes.
All right, well, I just wanted to say that.
You did a good job.
Thank you. I'll shut up now.
It's not like you're extending the meeting at all.
Right.
Sorry.
If I have a copy, a soft copy of the agreement, if anybody wants to look at it, it's a lot of, it's very one-sided.
You think?
Leave it at that.
Okay. Can you send that over?
Yeah.
Yes,
I will
please.
definitely send it. The last item I have, I sort of disguised as grass field maintenance. We are having a problem at the high school and the middle school with goose droppings.
Mhm.
And the way we try to manage it is by using a tow-behind leaf sweeper, which
Just blow it in
works
there.
about 60% maybe. We wind up, as you can imagine, the goose droppings weigh quite a bit more than leaves.
Yeah.
So the sweeper doesn't last very long. It winds up ripping and bending, and I just talked to my staff before the meeting this afternoon, and we've taken 20 some odd loads of goose droppings off of the fields. And we're planning on doing the middle school field between the cafeteria and the reservoir if it's not too soft tomorrow. But it's not working. It's not working well at all. So Mr. Weller and I have been doing a lot of research on, just how to address this problem. We've tried the stationary dogs, and they don't really work. There has to be some kind of motion, and they have to be moved a lot.
Yeah.
And it's tough to maintain that system. We came up with this particular device here that is the only thing that we found that actually is built for this purpose.
Oh, jeez.
It is built out of from a company called Tow and Collect. They sell it to farmers for horses and alpacas and all sorts of other critters.
It flicks the manure.
This one is specific to vacuuming goose droppings.
The stuff
So
we
it's
have to
something
do
that we would,
sometimes.
you know, and they're, as you know, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not only on the fields, but it's in the areas where the parents sit, you know, spectators. And thankfully, we don't have the problem on the turf because other than the occasional aerial assault, there's nothing to eat on the turf, right? There's not, so they don't land there. But they certainly do land on the outfield of the varsity baseball field, the varsity softball field, Montgomery Avenue, the middle school, they're all over the place. Scott Seep, who's the primary grounds person at the high school, even tells a story about he was stopped one day, either by like a fishing boat or a game warden or somebody from the Green Lane Park, because he was trying to shoot him away with a gator and was scalded. and
Should have
said,
been an alligator.
You can't do that. Yeah, you know.
You're gonna
Oh,
traumatize the geese.
Right, whether that's folklore or not. But-
We'll be hiring geese psychologists.
So long story short is, I'm asking permission to purchase this with some surplus funds that I have in the budget this year. Well, we have funding left over from some vans that we purchased 2 vans, but we had budgeted for more. We couldn't get another van in the amount that we budgeted, so there's some money left over. We weren't able to do the softball field project, so I have some money left over from that. So I checked, I could get this within a week or so, and it's $6,300 plus $700 or $800 in shipping.
Who is that? It's
It is on sale, and it's on sale.
It's on sale.
There are 3 different models.
Well, get the deluxe.
Whatever holds the most poo.
The only reason, I don't think the one on
It can even handle horse manure.
the small one is, it would just take too many passes.
Yeah.
And the big one, from what I understand, the tires drive the tines.
Yeah.
In the big one, it's too heavy for that, so it has to have a motor on it. And I think the sweet spot is the one in the
Yeah, the
middle. It's
middle.
4 feet wide, and, you know, that would allow us to,
Does Scott get to empty it?
You think we could send this into Dirty Jobs, Mike Rao? I like it.
yeah, so we're emptying
I like it.
the leaf sweeper now in the, you know, in the weeds or in the woods, and, you know,
Can't process that.
Apparently they-
Gas or something.
3 pounds a goose can poop per day, so
Yeah.
that's a lot.
That's a lot of goose.
And you have enough to cover this.
You guys didn't think it was going to be educational tonight, did you?
Yeah, right? You're learning all kinds of little things.
So you're emptying it in the woods now, is that your future plans, to continue doing it? or
Great.
Yeah, well,
Flowers in the
I
woods.
think so,
Yeah.
unless I can find,
Do we have
A
an
goose
area
poop
anywhere that
repository,
would be
yeah,
able to-
right.
yeah, it's usually, I think it's down,
Just
it's
don't
like
put
off
any
the county
phosphates.
property.
You could fill in an area that you said you fall off the.
Exactly.
That's right.
No, that's supposed to be there, you know, it has to be there too.
But I have to confirm, like, they want a certain hitch height or ball height. And, you know, we don't have an ATV, I'm not asking to buy an ATV, but we have other equipment that have hitches that I believe can pull this, but we have to
Check it out.
we have to just vet that a little bit, but.
Where do you have to go to pick this up, or is it shipping?
It
from-
ships from Atlanta, Georgia,
Oh, geez.
yeah.
That's
So
why it's
that's the
$700 a year.
$800 shipping
Yeah.
cost.
That's why it's on
But
sale.
other than
for
that, I
$700 last year.
don't have any other solutions, I, you know.
That's an
The-
age-old
The
problem.
leaf
Yeah.
sweeper is just not.
Yeah.
Get the right piece of equipment. for
Yeah,
the job.
that's, exactly, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think it'll serve us well, and, you know, we don't want our parents and athletes to have to deal with this, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's a long-standing problem.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, so I don't, Dan and I'm not sure if it's a capital purchase or not at that price point.
Well, if you have it in your budget, I think it's in there. I'll just take that out.
Yeah, we can find somewhere.
Somewhere it goes in the budget.
couple more bake sales, right, Peg?
Yep, there you go.
Bake
Car-
sales,
And
bake
cost.
sales and car washes,
Yeah.
here we go.
Just need approval from us, or do we need to give it to the board?
It's, if it's in your budget, we own it.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't budget for this specifically, but I
and I'm having
can,
funds for it.
it would basically come out of surplus that's in my budget for things that I couldn't
Otherwise, do.
Yeah.
otherwise do.
It's under emergency.
Well, if we need them, we
There's-
know. Okay.
No, we don't need a separate
I think-
motion.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
Get by it.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing, guys.
yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's,
Let's hope it works. Hope it helps at least.
Unintended.
All right.
so that's all I had. I don't know if folks have anything.
Great way to finish.
Yeah.
No, yeah. We'll be dreaming about goose dropping.
Right. Thank you, Doug, as always.
Yes.
Any comments from fellow committee members?
Nope, nope.
Oh, this has been entertaining.
Yep.
Comments from the public?
Audience?
We do have, we waited around this long. We are interested in the high school track being open for the community during the summer months.
Yeah.
I know, or from hearing from other community members, when it was originally put in, it was a promise that it would be open. I don't know, I wasn't here then, so I don't know why that didn't happen, but we want to know how we can go move forward, or what needs to be done, or a discussion of how to get the track open for the summer.
Like,
Yeah.
did you have hours in mind?
Well, we'll take anything we can get. I mean, if you think about it, if these are dedicated athletes who want to use it, they'll get up early and go 8 to 10, you know, something in the morning, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something, you know. We're willing to take anything we could get. And I know that's when people are in the building in the summer months. I don't know about Fridays, but
Right.
Is it the request to use all the facilities there or just the track?
I mean, track would be priority. You know, they would love to have the turf, but I don't know what that looks like as far as liability and stuff.
Well, that's not asking the question. It's simply, if it is a request to have the track open for people to go around there, or you had said if these are student athletes, were they trying to use the pits or the throwing areas or those type of things?
No, I think track would be the priority.
Track open.
Yeah, I think part of it, the concern was the turf. And, you
Yeah.
know, there's no way, there's no way to keep people off the turf if they're using the track, but, you know, it's something we just have to figure out and work with.
You know, we talked about that before with the locking and the unlocking, and you're not the first people to ask about it.
Well, I brought it up, Mel.
Yeah, you
know?
did, that's right, you
Because I
did.
want, you know, as a tax-paying senior citizen, I wanted to get my walking exercise in, and I don't want to go to Camelot Park.
Yeah.
You know, I live, you know, right down the street.
Mhm.
And, you know, to Mrs. Trainer's point, you know, that was the deal when that track was put in, that it would be available to the public. And
I don't remember.
I think there's got to be some way we can figure out, like, I would love coming in the mornings and just, you know, doing my laps in the morning. There's got to be some logical way to have access. Can we at least think about it and talk about it?
Yeah, I think we can definitely list the I guess they call it the barriers to getting it done, and see what we can address and try to come up with creative solutions maybe to do something, but I don't want to shoot it down immediately. I want to,
Well,
let's look at
the
it.
question is what's they ask. Peg said the morning, so is that in the summer? What she's asking, is it during the school year? Because that lays a whole other set of.
Oh, no.
I'm just asking, you had said to come work out early or get there.
Yeah, I would love this summer, when school's out, to have access just to do some walking in the mornings and, you know, and just, if we could just talk about it and see what the possibilities are.
Well, in a previous district that I used to live in, they used to have gates, just like we do here, but they would give out keys.
Yeah.
People would have to sign up for them.
Yeah, like there's a lot of schools, because my daughter has made it to states twice already, she's a freshman. So the closest track we can go to is like Solderton. And now because more schools are opening them, they're limiting to just school district kids. So they have to get like a pass. which they pay for, which goes to funding, you know, the people that are opening and closing, and maintenance, like people emptying the trash, or whatever that has to be done. But like the huge thing, yeah, would be track, just because,
Well, I know, like, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you go.
My daughter was training last summer and the track wasn't open, so she's running at Camelot and on the ground. She ended up with shin splints and had an
Yeah.
all fall hockey season because she didn't have something, you know, accessible.
And at other schools I've worked at, they had the one gate that was a turnstile gate. So, you know, you couldn't bring bikes in or anything like that. It was just this one single turnstile entrance that could be locked, you know, at any point in time. But that was the access to the track. And what was it, State College? That was how we let the community in to use the track facility, that turnstile.
But there wasn't any, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Was there anyone policing that, or was it just
Well, it was right behind-
unlocked at a certain time and then somebody would come back and lock it?
Yeah, it was certain hours it was open, which was well publicized, and it was right behind the high school, so, you know, eyes were on it.
Mhm.
But, you know, just like, at least talk about it and see if there's any.
Look at you, if each.
Yeah, the biggest concern is everything else that's inside that area. You know, making sure that people don't mess up the turf. The kids going in and playing football on the turf or taking field hockey sticks or whatever.
Well, again, you signage, you know, and, you know, trying something, and if we have issues, you know, not doing it, I mean, there's gotta be an opportunity, and, you know, folks, we talk about community engagement, and, you know, this is the stuff that brings us closer as a community, and
Not just because.
just, you know, I just worry about us being a school district which is always saying no all the time, and isn't popular. And I get the parameters, I get the stuff you have to deal with. God only knows I dealt with that, but we need us to be open-minded about it. That's all.
And can I also just add, I mean, the track isn't open, but the tennis courts are open, and are there damage to them? Because I know, like, they were on them this weekend. You know, like, people are able to use those.
Yeah, but to replace that doesn't cost
Well,
$700,000 either, of which we've been trying to put money away for every year.
but again,
There's not that much in the budget for it yet.
But again, we're looking at damage. Can we not give community the benefit of the doubt and believe that they're responsible citizens to use?
And that's why I said, like, 8 to 10. You're troublemakers, the one who they're not going to be up at 8 to 10 in the morning, you know, and going to cause damage. They're going to be your dedicated athletes who are going to be there for a purpose.
And then
working
a lot
out.
of the elderly, I walk that track with my grandma every
Yeah.
weekend. And I understand that was before you guys put in all-weather track. But like, we walked every weekend. And there's so many like elderly people in the community too that
Right
I
by
see
them.
walking.
Why are you looking at me?
Thank you for speaking up for the silver sneakers in the room.
But yeah, I don't think a lot of, you know, if you keep it a designated hour, or even look into some of what the other school districts are doing with passes, or even, you know, holding those people accountable that are going into the, you know, into the track.
So how is I'm just curious, how are the passes policed? So it's Saturday, you get a pass, and what happens?
It's like a year-long pass. Some of the other school districts are doing, you pay a set fee, and it's like a family pass.
Mhm.
And I think they have like a buzzer thing, like the gates are locked, and you cannot get in without your pass.
Turnstile.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your smart pass.
But it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because more and more schools are now opening their tracks, and like her, exactly what she's saying, there's not as much maintenance done, like there's nowhere really to run around town, there's no really maintenance done on the fields in the summer, so there's so much poop, so many holes, the grass sometimes isn't mowed for a while, so she has nowhere to run. So that's like the huge fear too, is shin splints, there's nowhere to run in this area but Camelot, and that's all paved too. There's nothing around here.
I just think we need to have an open mind about it.
Like I said, I think it's something we can definitely consider, but we have to, let's talk about the obstacles to it. Like, let's just start small. Let's say, 8 to 10 or something like that, 2-hour open window.
Mhm.
And what does that mean?
What does that mean? What do we have
Yeah.
to do to get to that point?
Right.
And then let's have the discussion. Yeah. So,
Next month.
Okay.
next month.
Yeah.
Squeeze it on the agenda.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always willing to consider what we can. We just try to think of all the sides of it. Because there's always sides of it. Everything. You heard a lot of our sides today.
Any other comments? Good.
Thanks for hanging around.
Yeah. Entertain a motion to.
Second. Second.
Discussion?
Let's go, March Madness.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Not related, but, well, kind of, do you guys know when the sidewalk is gonna be done? Like, where the bridge is?
Probably not till they take the bridge down.
Because I know you guys sent